Hello, guys, and listen, welcome to your market report. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here. Now, today is Wednesday, September 5th, 2018. We're looking at some red candles today with the Bitcoin price. That's one thing we got to talk about. Bonds and rates are on their way up a little bit. Let's get right in and let's go into this market report and let's see what's happening and let's open up the charts right here. Now, the first thing we're going to notice is cryptocurrency. She's gone down to 7,000. We had two big red candles, probably caused by a big fish selling off their Bitcoin. At 70, when it hit around 74.11, they sold, and she's went down to 7,000, and she stopped right here. She's just put the brakes on right here. Look, right now, she stopped at $7,000, and she's like, what is she gonna do? Well, we're seeing a red candle start right now, but trying to. But we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with this, whether this. Well, it just turned around a little bit. I was kind of waiting this morning to see what happens with this and just holding off my report on here. Anyway, let's take a look at cryptocurrency market capitalizations for today. We're looking at $223 billion with 54.1% Bitcoin dominance. We're looking at market decreases in price in some of these coins. Some of these coins are down 12%. IOTA's down 12%, for instance, 12.35% at 63 cents. So we're looking at some values in some of these coins now, and I think there's a floor under this market, to tell you the truth. $6,000 per Bitcoin, I think there's a floor. I think they've pretty much established that floor. Will they break through that floor? I don't tend to think so, but maybe they could, you know. But if they break through that floor, how far down will she fall before she hits another floor? That's the question. There might be some real good buying opportunities coming up in cryptocurrencies, but there's tremendous buying opportunities right now in silver. Let's take a look at this. Silver price is like $14.18 for spot today, and this is very, very down. This market has been showing merciless, absolutely merciless crushing by the bankers. It's basically a fire sale, and how much worse will it get, this fire sale on silver, before it's all sold out? That's the question. Now, I did a show yesterday about this. What I wanted to do is I want to put the point across, basically, is that the silver market is very vulnerable. And all of the supply that's available for sale, or a big chunk of it, comes from mining production. And the miners right now are right down on their, I mean, I think they're probably losing money, to tell you the truth. A lot of them are probably losing money. And so they supply industry. Silver is an industrial metal. It's not just a metal for beautiful things like jewelry and stuff like that. In the Earth's crust, there is more silver out there than there is gold, but it's in the Earth's crust. There's also a lot of silver out there in people's possession. And so there's so much silver out there in the Earth's crust and in people's possession that there will never be a true shortage, as in we don't have any more silver on Earth. No, but there can be a shortage in the 1,000-ounce silver bars, because that's what they use. When you go into APMEX and you buy, say, silver rounds, 1-ounce silver rounds, those rounds are made from 1,000-ounce silver bars. Everything is made from the 1,000-ounce silver bars. In industry, that's what they use. They use the 1,000-ounce silver bars. And so when they run out of 1,000-ounce silver bars, suddenly there would be a shortage of silver in the silver that's available for sale. And what that would cause, it would cause trickle-down effects. Like one of the effects would be that there would be failure to deliver on a massive scale. Instantly, the price would shoot upwards. And what would happen is that shortage would be ended when the price hit a price point high enough where people would sell silver back into the market, and the miners then would make a profit. The miners then would start to increase production and so on at a certain point. So the shortage would not last a very long time, but the effect of the shortage would be to drive the price massively higher than it is now, because right now silver is underpriced, tremendously underpriced. And so, that being said, the more they underprice it, the further down they suppress this price, the more likely we're going to actually have these problems within the silver market, because it's a very vulnerable market. Let's face it, going back to when the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market. And now, in his own subtle way, the Morgan Bank, the JP Morgan Bank is almost like they're trying to corner the silver market. But they're doing it in a little bit different fashion. And honest to gosh, you know, JP Morgan Bank has probably accumulated in excess of 140 million ounces of silver at this point. And so there's no real silver shortage, because when the price point gets up to where JP Morgan Bank wants it, they'll take that 150 or 140 million ounces and they will supply the market themselves. But they're not going to give it to you at less than they paid it for it, because these banks, I mean, let's face it, they want to get their money out of what they're producing. So now let's move on. Now let's talk about, let's talk about the Dow Jones. Let's get the the page on here, and let's move the charts up, and we're looking at down 7 points today. There's no real strong movements. There's very low volume in this market, and there's no real strong movements to the up or the downside. This market is just like sitting there waiting for what's going to happen next, you know, sort of a deal. She's at 25,945, and she's just kind of taking a breather, you know. Let's take a look at oil, see what it's doing. Okay, crude oil. 69.39, right? Now, she touched $70, and you notice she's back down into the 60s. It's like I said, they're keeping it between $60 and $70, and they're being very effective at keeping oil in that range-bound price. Now let's take a look at bonds and rates today. We're looking at the bond yields are starting to rise. Not rising as much as yesterday, but yields are rising. I'm keeping a very tight eye on this, how high these yields are going. This could have a really big effect on the stock market. In fact, the rise in yields the last couple of days, you know, has already, I think, stopped the stock market and is holding it right in this holding area right now. And if these yields keep rising, if they keep going up, especially keep your eye on the 10-year. If the 10-year goes above 3.25%, then we're in a range where we could have actually a stock market crash. Not just a correction in the stock market, but an actual crash. If this bond yield on the 10-year goes over 3.25%. Now, it's making its way back up there. Once it decides to move, it could move rather quickly. So we got to keep our eye on that. Let's take a look at the U.S. dollar today. 95.13. It's down 0.29. I notice it's down 0.29, but it's not having too much of an effect on silver today. Well, this has been your market report. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in tomorrow's show. Bye-bye.